Saturday morning, and my aim is to get the polythene on this tunnel by the end of the day, whatever happens. I've managed to get one door frame put in, which was just so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Just the hoops, I think, have bent slightly over the years. All the way long straight. Yeah. Eden is busy scraping off all the old tape. You can see here, this basically stops when the metal gets hot in the sun. It stops it kind of degrading the polythene. So it's like an insulation tape. We're going to take off all this, and I've got some new stuff to put on. So this is the door frame, and the polythene is going to come over the top of this surface of the first batten and it'll be trapped under the second, and that kind of clamps it all together. And as these have got nice chamfered edges and they're planed, nothing's really going to catch on there. The only thing I will do is any of the corners right at the top there is just cut just the corners off or sand them, so nothing's going to catch. Next job is to cut the excess, because remember, we can't have it as long as it was intended to be, so we're going to cut these off here. They're already fixed in there with a self-drilling screw, so I'll just cut them flush. And then I'll probably just wrap a bit of tape over any of the sharp edges, again just to make sure nothing tears the plastic. Get a little bit of sandpaper. It wouldn't hurt just to round it over a bit. So again, the polythene will come down here and be clamped under a second rail around the bottom. The next problem we got is that the force of the hoops is slightly pushing out on these side rails. Even though they're pretty substantial, it's just bowing them out slightly, which is probably no big issue, but I'd rather keep everything square. So I need to basically tie the two rails together, and I've temporarily put this timber in here, but obviously that's going to get in the way. So I've got two options really. One is to have like a galvanized steel band or strap, which would be at floor level, which might work quite well, and that would be fixed to both of them and hopefully hold them in, but it would only be pulling on the bottom, so they could twist. The other option is just to get another 150mm timber, or maybe even slightly shorter, and have an obvious board across the middle. It's not really going to be a problem. It's such a small polytunnel that we're not going to be bringing wheelbarrows through here. So that's probably what I'm going to do for now. And if it's then obvious and you're not going to trip over it, whereas something that's just half an inch so above the ground, you're probably going to catch your toe on it and go over. It might be that now we've put a lot more of the structure together that this doesn't spring out, so we'll see if it springs, and if it doesn't, then we might just leave it. Yeah, it's gone out about 20mm, so I think it's worth bracing it in the middle. I scraped off all that old tape that was on there, so we're going to go ahead and stick this stuff on now. Okay, we're preparing to put the plastic on. Unfortunately the wind's picked up, so there could be some comedy involved in this next 5 minutes. Certainly getting warm in here already. I've been fiddling around just because I was getting a bit OCD. I didn't want this writing to be on the garden side. You obviously don't want to leave it half finished because it's going to end up 3 doors down if the wind picks up. So we're going to weigh it down, and all being well, it'll still be here when we get back. Well, we're back and it's still here. So down this side I've battened out, that's to keep it pretty tight. Still needs to be stretched the lengthways. This end had the batten put on first, and then the other end we stretched. Have you fed the chickens your bread?
Yeah.
They've eaten it all, have they?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've done is I'm raising this. This is what the polythene attaches to. Once it's fixed to there, we'll push it down and tighten it, and that'll kind of give us the sort of drum type feel that you're meant to get. I'm using 50mm batten, just so I know it's going to be square all the way along. I think these oak clamps are working pretty well. They seem to be strong enough. You've been cheeky. Done is started stretching this around and battening in on the ends now, and from what I've heard or what I've watched, these creases where you're kind of straightening it out need to stop before the horizontal part, and then you end up with a flat panel below, or flattish. And the videos I've been watching are by First Tunnels, who are the same company who supplied this polythene, and I'll put their link below, but that's who we ordered it from a couple of years ago. And they've got quite a good YouTube presence and quite informative videos, so don't use this as a guide. So this end is all nice and tight, and even as it stands, this is fairly tight. We've still got that amount to drop, absolutely loads of excess down the other end, so we can use that perhaps to make some temporary cold frames or just save it for another project. Right, time to put the birds to bed. And tonight's project is to hang the TV, swap the TVs over and get a wall bracket sorted for the lounge.